तुम्ही 1-2 मिनिटं बोला, नंतर स्क्रीन शेअर करा.
त्यात वेळ चालला जातो ना रे.
बरं ठीक आहे, तुम्हाला जसं योग्य वाटलं सर. मी तुम्हाला सेशन हँडओव्हर केलं की तुम्ही स्क्रीन सुरू करा.
ओके
ओके सर.
आला का उजेड?
हो आता आला सर.
थोडं पुढे मला दिसेल ना. हा दिसलो आता. काय उजेड आहे तुझा?
सर दिसत आहे चांगलं.
खूपच मोठा स्क्रीन दिसायला नाही.
नंतर होईल कमी.
सुरू झाला कमी.
ब्रिजेश सर, शाळा स्टार्ट. ब्रिजेश सर.
Yes, please. Please start.
Okay. Good afternoon, one and all. Today we have 3 experts, Dr. M.R. Patil sir. Then second expert is Dr. S.D. Kalyankar sir. Third expert is Praful Patil sir. So I will introduce one by one. First expert is Dr. M.R. Patil sir. Dr. M.R. Patil sir is working as a professor and associate dean, College of Dairy Technology, Udgir, Maharashtra Animal Fishery Science University, Nagpur. Sir, as per the sir's qualifications, sir has completed M.Tech Dairy Chemistry and PhD. Sir having more than 20 years of teaching, research and extension experience. Sir has worked with Vidya Dairy, Anand, Amul. Sir has recognized is one of the cheese expert in India. As per the research paper, research concern, sir has published more than 65 research and review papers in national and international journals. Sir has participated more than 39 national and international conferences, and sir has received many more awards. As per the project concern, research projects concern, sir has handled as a PI many more research projects through a different funding agencies, RKVY, MOFI, RGST, etc. He has, to his credit, various editorial assignments and manuscript reviewer for both national and international level. Dr. Patil sir has conducted the various seminars, workshops, trainings for farmers and entrepreneurs as an extension activity. Sir has delivered the TV talks and radio talks for the farmers and entrepreneurs. Welcome to the Dr. Patil sir. Welcome to the platform of Parul University. Our second expert is Dr. S.D. Kalyankar. S.D. Kalyankar sir working as a sectional head, Department of Dairy Technology at Government College of Dairy Technology, Udgir, Mapsu, Nagpur, Maharashtra. Dr. Kalyankar sir is recipient of various national award like Young Scientist Award. He bagged first prize 4 times for IDA, Indian Dairy Association, and also he holds a Best Teacher Awards. Similarly, as an invited speaker, he has delivered a lead lectures in International Dairy Federation at Dublin, Ireland. He has several scientific publications to his credit. He has also given his contribution to the Encyclopedia of Food Science and Nutrition, a major reference work bought by elsewhere academic research. Sir, welcome to the Digital Empowered Parul University Digital Platform. Third expert is Dr. P.V. Patil sir. Sir is working as a farm manager, farm operation, College of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Maharashtra Animal Fishery Science University, Nagpur. Sir having the more than 14 years of experience as a veterinary officer and farm manager, farm operations. Sir having the teaching and research experience also. Sir has published more than 39 papers in national and international journals. As per the extension concern, sir has conducted the number of seminars, conferences, workshops, trainings to farmers, self-help groups, and entrepreneurs. In his credit, the TV talks, radio talks, and more than 200 extension publications Patil sir, I welcome to the digital platform of Parul University. Thank you. So I invite Dr. M.R. Patil sir for the session. I will hand over the session to the Dr. M.R. Patil sir. Please sir.
Good evening, friends. Thanks, Dr. Kere and the organizers of Parul University for giving me an opportunity to have interactions with the scientists, students, and general people. Myself, Dr. Madhav Patil, working as a Dean, College of Dairy Technology, here, which is a constituent college of Maharashtra Animal and Fishery Sciences University, Nagpur. Today, I will be deliberating on the topic on post-COVID scenario pertaining today. Friends, all of you are aware that we are facing a pandemic in India of this coronavirus. This is 74th day that we are in the lockdown. Until now, more than 2 lakh people in India are getting infected with this particular coronavirus. No doubt, the recovery rate is quite good. Around 50% recovery rate is there. And in this crunch period, we, dairy technocrats or the dairy technologists or dairy industry is facing a lot of problems. So today, I will be deliberating on this particular. So, in this particular presentation, I'm going to cover various aspects pertaining to this particular scenario. So, what are the points which will be covered under this particular topic? So, we'll be talking about the scenario prior to the outbreak and with that of COVID-19 corona. We'll be deliberating on the effect of lockdown on milk procurement and dairy product consumption. We'll be also talking about the post-COVID strategies for dairy industries. We'll be talking about the general strategies at farm and milk production area. Friends, as all of you are aware, that India is world's largest milk producers, which produces around 187.7 million tons of milk. These are the latest figure of 2018 and 19. And if you see our share in the world production, it is around 20%. If you see the daily capita availability of milk in India, it is 394 grams per day. And our annual growth rate is 6.5%. It has been reported that around 50% milk is been handled by unorganized dairy sector. And they are producing a wide range of traditional Indian dairy products. So, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, it has have direct impact on the global economy. Most of the industries, including our dairy sector, they are struggling with how to mitigate the impact from a potential global recession. This is our journey from milk scarce country to the milk sufficient country. In the year 1960, if you see our milk production, it was 17 to 22 million tons. So we are having a lot of milk scarcity. And moreover, we are dependent on the import from the developed countries. But if you see today's picture, if you see this 2018, because of this white revolution and dairy development schemes, we have achieved a good expertise in this particular area. With the help of this Operation Flood, that is during this period 1970 to 1996, this was the world's largest food and development program. And the objectives of this particular program is to increase the milk production, which ultimately resulted into the flood of milk. The another objective was to augment the rural income. And third objective was to make milk available to the consumers in cities through national milk trade. Even after 1997-2018, the dairy development schemes were launched. So among them, the National Program for the Dairy Development, National Dairy Plan Phase 1, and Dairy Intervention Development Schemes. These have resulted into the increase in the milk production. And if you see today's picture, our milk production, these are the 2018 data, it is 176 million tons. And if you see our share, it is almost 21% of global output. And as previously we were the importer, now we became the exporter of milk and milk products. This is the milk production across countries. This is, I have obtained it from the NDDB website. So if you see the milk production across the countries, the total world milk production in the year 2017-18, it was 826.75 million metric tons. And if you see the India share, it was 176.27, followed by USA, Pakistan, China, and Brazil. So if you see, if you compare ourselves with even this USA, we are almost double than that of the second milk largest producing country. So there we are standing nowadays in our global scenario. This is the graph which gives you idea about India's share in the global milk production. If you see in the 2001, India's share in the global milk production was 14.4%. In the 2003, there was slight decrease into the India share. But later on, there is consistent increase in the global milk production. In the year 2010, it was around 16.18%. In the 2015, it was almost 19.1%. In the 2017, it is 21.7%. And if you see today's condition, we have already approached more than 22% share in the global milk production. So this COVID has a tremendous impact on the global economy. Here, this graph shows the impact of COVID on the global economy. This blue bars, that is the economic growth without coronavirus, means no coronavirus was there. This orange bars, that gives the economic growth percentage in the baseline scenario with coronavirus, and this blue bar indicates the risk scenario pandemic. If you see the global economic growth in percentage, it is around 3% when there was no coronavirus. If you compare with the coronavirus scenario, it has decreased. It goes almost half. While in the risk scenario pandemic, it is only 0.5% economic growth is there. If you see as compared to the global conditions, India is doing quite well. If you see the economic growth of India, it is almost 5.6% without coronavirus. But when this pandemic has occurred, our economic growth, it has reduced. It is cut and it is around 5.1 or 5.2%. And in the risk scenario, it may go below 4, that is around 3.6%. If you compare it with the other countries, the things are very, very, you can say, not good. They are in the bad shape. That means if overall the economic growth in percentage, the global economy is decreasing like anything. So let us talk about the scenario prior to the outbreak and with this COVID-19. If you see before March, before outbreak, there was shortage of milk because as we were approaching towards this summer season, there was shortage of milk. Even because of this shortage, the private dairies, they were planning to import the skim milk product skim milk powder from the other countries. And because of that, the global skim milk powder prices, they were increased. They approached even up to 340 rupees per kg. But because of this pandemic, this outbreak, suddenly the market shattered and the global SM price has dropped down to 230 rupees per kg. Prior to this outbreak, farmers were getting good price for the milk. And now there is surplus milk, and most of these private dairies and some small and marginal halwais, they were not able to purchase the milk from the farmers. If you see in the first quarter of 2020, the demand for the milk price, demand for the milk as well as the price was expected to increase. It was increasing. But suddenly, after this COVID-19 pandemic, the market has changed. The demand for the milk has decreased, and the price, which was about to increase, started declining. At present, if you see today's condition, now the procurement is constant and the demand of the milk and milk product is decreasing. Now we are again getting good responses from the market as this lockdown has opened. So that fifth lockdown 5 is there, and we are approaching towards the unlock 1. So in this period, now the people are going for more and more milk and milk products as they are the good source of nutrients, and as they are packed, they are hygienically processed and produced. That's why the consumer is opting for milk and milk products from the good brands. During this lockdown, if you see the consumption of milk, it has dropped down, and around 25 to 30% milk consumption is decreased. Even the domestic consumption of milk has been disturbed by the curfew which has been imposed on the various parts of the country and countrywide lockdown. In addition to that, the situation is getting aggravated when the people, they were thinking, they were having the fear of the contamination of milk due to the mishandling of milkman. The milkman who is producing the milk, who is traveling with that milk, the people is having that concept in their mind. They are having that fear that the milk may get contaminated with this particular virus. So as to avoid this, they were not ready to purchase milk from the milkmans. Even the commercial outlet for the milk and milk products, they were closed. And because of that also, it has resulted into the drastic fall in the demand of the milk. In addition to that, the out-of-home consumptions of dairy product has been reduced to the zero. Because as all of you are aware that restaurants are closed, hotels are closed, mithai shops were closed, now they are open. And as they were closed due to this nationwide lockdown, there was decrease in the sale of milk. And that was having a great impact on the milk procurement and dairy product consumption. Even the liquid milk sale by these dairy cooperatives during this lockdown period, that was declined at about 20%. And that is among the major dairying states like Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Punjab. So here they are having good network of these dairy cooperatives, and even they are having a good chain. Still then, there was decline of 20%. So at present, despite the reducing demand, the milk procurement has not come down as the dairy cooperatives, they are adhering to the government notification of not meddling with the livelihood of the farmers. And that is very much true, because the cows and buffaloes, they are not going to stop delivering this milk. We are about to milk the animals, and we could have a good amount of milk available with us, that means with the farmers. And if you don't purchase that milk from the farmers, they were unable to earn money, they are unable to feed these animals, and that will lead another bad situation in our dairy sector. So our dairy cooperatives, they are doing a wonderful job. They are purchasing as much as milk from the farmers. And this particular table gives data about the milk pre and post COVID situation. If you see the procurement of milk during this pre-COVID-19 period, it was 534 lakhs liter. Post-COVID, it is 515 lakhs liter. If you see the sale of the milk, pre-COVID, it was 385 lakhs liter, while post-COVID, it is 325. That means it is decreased. The sale of milk is decreased. But procurement has also decreased, but the reasons are different. If you see the surplus milk, pre-COVID-19, the surplus milk was 149 lakhs liters. But post-COVID, it is 89 lakhs liters. Here, what happened? The big dairies, they are purchasing the milk from the farmers. They are having facilities, so they are converting that milk into the skim milk powder, and they are converting it into the butter oil. And because of that, post-COVID, the surplus milk availability is quite less. And the conversion of that milk into various dairy products in the post-COVID-19 scenario, it has 40 lakhs liter. And all those values, they were reported in the April 2020. If you see in this particular period, the demand of some of these value-added dairy products like paneer, cheese, these are the protein resources, butter, cream, and dairy whitener, it has raised. And even some of the big dairies, they have reported 15 to 100% jump in the monthly sale of cheese, butter, paneer, cream, and dairy whitener in the April. Again, it is increasing. In the May also, it has been increasing. So as this cheese and butter, this paneer, they are good source of energy as they are having good quantum of fat and protein into it. The people, the consumer, they are very much interested in eating this type of nutritious food. However, for the ice cream makers, the situation is a little bit odd because since February, the demand for the ice cream is declined because previously there was extension of cold weather, and later on in the March, this coronavirus outbreak is there, and because of this, there is complete downfall in the ice cream market or ice cream industry. And if you see this particular summer season, it accounts 40% of the annual sale of ice cream of the total year. If you compare it with the annual conditions, so ice cream sector is heading towards a near washout this particular summer. But the positive side is that our other products, it could be a good case. So let us talk about the strategies, post-COVID strategies for the dairy industries. And among them, firstly, we'll be talking about the management-related strategies. So the first management-related strategies is to providing working capital at the lowest interest rate to the dairies. So by providing this working capital at lower interest rates to the dairy, who can purchase excess milk, and if they are having facility to convert it into the milk powder and white butter, they can get rid of this excess of this milk procurement. So you have to provide working capital at lower interest rates to those dairies. Even in the last few days, under this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, our government of India has introduced a new scheme, that is interest subvention on working capital loans for the dairy sector, for supporting the dairy cooperatives and the farmer producers organizations engaged in the dairy activities. So in this latest scheme, it provides at the interest subvention of 2% per annum with an additional incentive of 2% per annum interest subvention to be given in the case to those dairies who are prompt and timely in the repayment of that money and the interest. So this particular scheme will be implemented through the National Dairy Development Board, and it will help to ease out the working capital crisis for handling surplus milk and enable the timely payment to the farmers. And this will unlock Rs 5,000 crore additional liquidity into the sector. Another important strategy is making this feed and healthcare facilities available to the people. So both government as well as dairy cooperatives, they are providing these inputs and the services to the farmers on the subsidized rate, because in some of the remote areas, remote zones, the feed is not available. Even because of this lockdown situation, previously it was there, the doctors were not able to reach to that remote place because of non-availability of these vehicles and other things. So because of curfew and all those things. So now the government is working on that particular segment, and they are trying to make this feed and healthcare facility available to the people. Then another strategy is the utilization of surplus milk and milk products. As I told you earlier also that good quantum of milk is remain available at the village levels in remote areas. So that surplus milk has to be utilized. Okay. So the central government and the state governments, they are taking corrective actions to purchase the surplus milk to offer surplus milk from this area, and that milk can be provided or it can be offered as a free of cost to the migrant laborers or the labor camps or the isolation wards are there. So that milk can be supplied even if you're having certain indigenous product available with that particular area. So that can be offered free of cost to this migrant labor as well as isolation wards. So that will again help in boosting their immunity. Another strategies are using alternatives for selling milk and milk products. So here the various innovative ideas should be brought into the picture so as to penetrate the rural markets and get as much as people you can involve them into this particular area. So there is need to initiate home delivery of milk and milk products through the mobile carts, vans, and e-commerce, etc. So this will, because see, nowadays the big malls, the shopping malls, they are closed. So you have to sell your product to the consumer. So you can even sell your product at the some stationery shop, or you can also sell them on the grocery shop or something like that. So accordingly, or kirana shop, you can sell your milk product through those outlets also. Then another strategy in this particular what called the period is reduction in the GST. So the government may consider reducing the GST on ghee and milk fat. So they may consider reducing the GST from 12% to 5%. And if government waives off or reduces this tax levied on the dairy products, the dairies will get boost and milk producers will get better milk prices. The another management related strategy in this post-COVID scenario is establishing the cold storage in the rural region. So as good amount of milk has been produced in the village level. So what we can do is large capacity common cold store facilities should be created or established so that this what are the product are manufactured at village level, they can be preserved for the longer period, and this will result in continuous procurement of milk by the milk processors at the reasonable price. Now let us talk about the milk and milk product manufacture related strategies. So among them, the first and the important thing is production of clean and safe milk at farm level. So I think one of our colleague, Professor Patil, Praful Patil, he will be talking on this particular aspect. So here, what is important is by creating awareness among the farmers for the importance of the clean milk production, we can make people aware about the importance of clean and hygienic milk production. So that can be done. Then uh, another strategy is government may provide certain subsidies for purchase of milk handling equipments at farm level. So both central as well as state government should make some provisions to provide subsidies for the purchase of equipment and milk utensils like cans, stainless steel cans, milking machines, bulk milk cooler, and so on. So the subsidies, if they have been provided to the this small and marginal producers, they can prepare those facilities at their farm level and they can do good business at their end. Then third is automation in the production of dairy product. So here nowadays our emphasis should be on the automation. Most of the big dairies they are going for this automation in the production of various dairy products. So the emphasis is on the production of dairy product through the mechanization and automation to avoid pre and post contamination and even avoiding human interventions in the dairy premises. Even you can go for this contactless digital systems. That means just if you put certain sensors in front of the door, if you approach to the doors will be open. Likewise, you can put certain sensors to the switches so that the switches can be operated. Even the communication facilities can be created. Okay, like voice modeling, something like that. So by that way, in our if you follow this automation in the dairy industry, what it will result in? It resulted in the increase throughput or the productivity. It will also improve the quality or it will increase predictability of the quality. It will improve robustness or consistency of the processes as well as the product. Ultimately, it will be resulting into the increased consistency of the output. And this automation will reduce direct human labor cost and expenses into the dairy. This will reduce the time of processing and high utility of various resources. And the most important is safer working conditions into the dairy. Then another strategy relating to the milk and milk product is emphasis should be given on the production of functional food and value added dairy products. Even I have seen some of your webinars in that this functional food or even immunity boosting food, they were been deliberated by some scientists. So considering the health benefits of this functional food, the dairy industry should emphasize on development and production of new milk-based immunity boosting functional foods like fermented milk, haldi doodh, ginger milk, or value-added dairy products can be produced. So now our focus should be on this functional food in the coming future. This is the functional food in the global market. If you see the market share of the functional food in the global market, these are the 2018 figures, you'll find that the major share is owed to the dairy products, followed by bakery and cereals, followed by meat and fish, soy products, fats and oil. That means much more emphasis has been given onto the functional food. If you see this functional food global market, it is expected to grow and reach almost US dollar 210 billion in the 2023, and the growth rate would be around 7.4%. So if you see this annual growth rate, the functional food ingredients market is estimated at $68.60 billion in 2018, and it is projected to grow at a CAGR of 6.6% from 2018 to 2023. That means it may reach up to 2010 billion US dollar by the 2023. So a lot of potential is there for this functional food. So we as a dairy technologists should focus on this particular market. This is the share of value-added dairy products. So if you see the organized dairy market, so the share in the 2014-15, the share of this value-added dairy product was about 23%, and that of liquid milk was 65%. But if you see today's situation, the share of this value-added dairy products in organized dairy market is 30%, and there is a slight decrease in the consumption or share of this liquid milk. If you see the share of this value-added product in the cooperative dairy market, in the year 2014-15, the share of this value-added dairy product in the cooperative dairy market was 20%, and that of liquid market milk was 79%. But now in this particular area, after this post-COVID scenario, we can expect very high share of this value-added dairy product. So it is expected that in the year 2023-24, the share of value-added dairy product would be 48%, and that of the liquid milk would be 50% only. Nowadays, various dairy products have been launched into the market. If you see today's market, if you put there into the market nowadays, you'll find that this probiotic ice cream is there, straight curd, good and long life UST milk is there, masti dahi, flavored milk, haldi doodh. Recently, it has been launched. Then ginger milk, chas, Shrikhand, low lactose milk, drinking yogurt, and nowadays this ready to reconstitute product like basundi, kheer, rasmalai, payasam. All those products, they are now available into the market, and the consumer is now targeting. They are focusing. They are new to this particular product market, and nowadays they are more and more habitual to it. This type of product. Even yesterday, the managing director of Amul, he has talked about this particular thing, and he said that there is direct increase in the consumption of cheese, paneer, Tetra Pak milk, even dairy whiteners. So they have increased. So this is a good sign, and people are nowadays going for this milk rich protein sources. Okay, now let us talk about this general strategies at farm and milk production area. Actually, this particular topic will be dealt by Dr. Praful Patil. He will be deliberating on this particular aspect. I'm just to give some idea about this particular things. Like these are the actually guidelines which have been given by National Dairy Research Institute, IVRI, National Dairy Development Board, certain our dairy husbandry departments. They have given certain advisories or guidelines in this particular area. So what they are suggesting is that one has to restrict the movement of visitors to the livestock farms, milk production area without safety measures, and one has to practice biosecurity measures. Then, as it is, you have to make it possible that the strength of these farm workers and animal shed attendants should be minimized with maximum output per worker, with taking their proper health care. Okay. Then workers those who are coming from to the farms and dairy should advise, or they should be asked to wear mask. They should be thermally scanned for the temperature and all the other things. Even they should be advised to use their, they should sanitize their hands with appropriate sanitizer. Even they should maintain social distance while cleaning the animal sheds, chaffing, and distributing the fodder to the milking animals. Even if they are handling the milk utensils, milking machines and all those things, they should maintain the proper hygiene into the premises. And if at all any worker is found ill, he should be sterilized to take standard health measures to avoid any possibilities for the disease spread. Likewise, there are also other guidelines are also there. We should be practiced at farm as well as in the milk production area that I think Professor Praful Patil will be dealing with. So here I thank you for paying kind attention to this webinar. Thanks very much.
Thankful and informative session with us, and you have specially delivered the management strategy after post-COVID scenario. Thank you very much, sir. Now I hand over the session to Dr. S.D. Kalyankar, sir. Sir, am I audible to you? S.D. Kalyankar, sir?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Shall I continue?
Yes, sir. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome all to this session. Myself, Dr. Srikant Kalyankar. Dr. K has already given my introduction very nicely. Thank you, sir. Friends, at the outset, I would like to greet the Parul University authorities and the management for such wonderful event. I would also like to place on record the tireless efforts of Dr. Vijay Khere, Head of the Department Dairy Technology, and the coordinator of this event, along with his colleague, Mr. Acharya. I am grateful to organizer for giving such nice platform for sharing today's presentation. Okay, coming to the topic, we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic is considered as a most crucial global health calamity of the century and has impacted consumers and industries around the world. The advisories released by World Health Organization to control this calamity are followed by many countries. One of the important measures to keep away corona, that is the application of maintaining the physical distance, has resulted in the closure of many industries, educational institutes, and made restrictions on the social gatherings and transport. Some sectors, work from home and online discussions and meetings, it is a normal practice nowadays. However, for our dairy sector, dairying personnel do not have the opportunity to work from home and are required to continue their work in their usual workplaces. Dairy farmers and processors are working with full efficiency on the front line of this COVID war to deliver nutritious and safe food for us. In present pandemic situation, safety of these workers who are involved in the production, processing, and supply chains is a priority and a great challenge to the employer. So today's my webinar, it covers the safety and hygiene aspects related to safe milk production and processing of milk and milk products, that in context to prevalence of COVID-19. By adopting the safety and hygiene measures, milk producers and processors be safe and can produce best quality milk and milk products, which will be fit for human consumption. So I will share my presentation. So in present, sorry. In present COVID-19 situation, our customers' key focus is on safe milk and milk products. Producers can get good returns if they ensure safe handling of raw milk by having in place a system at their farm that minimizes contamination at various stages of handling of raw milk, and further keeps check on the growth and activity of microorganisms in raw milk. The advent of this coronavirus can happen at different stages due to undesirable practices related to the animal, the milking personnel, and during processing. The common practices to ensure safe and clean milk production are: the milkers are advised to wear clean protective clothes. They should maintain a high level of personal hygiene by washing and sanitizing hands before milking, and ensure that they should not eat, sneeze, spit near milking parlor. If milk handler found symptomatic, such as symptoms of sore throat, cough, cold, typhoid, such person should not be allowed to work. It is also recommended to undergo a periodical medical examination to rule out any infectious diseases. Apart from these good management practices, special emphasis should be laid on the health of the animal. In the present situations, the animal should be properly bathed and well groomed. So it is a normal practice. The animals should be examined periodically for odor and other infections. In these situations, the stall feeding practices should be followed. During milking process, the udder should be washed, cleaned gently so that it should not damage to the teats and udder. For washing, the best practice is to keep 2 buckets. That is, one is for plain water and one is with disinfecting solution. Similarly, along with that, 2 separate towels or cloths for both the purposes. Similarly, after milking also, these udder and teeth should be wiped with clean cloth dipped in disinfectant solution. As far as safety and hygiene of milk processors concerned, there is now an urgent requirement for the industry to ensure compliance with measures to protect persons involved in the processing of milk and milk products from contracting COVID-19, to prevent exposure or transmission of this virus, and to strengthen food hygiene and sanitation practices. The dairy plant should have food safety management system based on HACCP principles, or plant should have anyone designated person to manage these food safety risks and prevent food contamination. So it should be underpinned by prerequisite programs. So that includes enhanced this GMP. So while keeping key attention on mitigation strategies, emphasizing hand washing, personal hygiene, and safe distancing, industries also have to focus on reinforcing these GMPs. Similarly, we have to also aware about the symptoms of COVID-19. The staff which is working in the dairy plant need to be aware of the symptoms of COVID-19 and should be provided with written instructions and training regarding how to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Similarly, one more option is there, that established one-way traffic pattern. So generally that two-way traffic, that so as to maintain this physical distance. So avoid this two-way traffic and establish one-way traffic pattern. so that it helps to maintain the physical distance. This physical distancing, plant can develop a plan which minimizes close contact of the employees. So as per these WHO guidelines, at least 1 meter distance should be between these fellow workers, where it is not possible because due to the space problems, where it is not possible. So in that case, this employer needs to consider that what measures to put in place to protect his employees. For example, stagger the workstations on either side of the processing lines so that dairy workers will not face one another. Adequate hand sanitizing points. So hand washing, we know that this hand washing, it is one of the greater protective barrier to infections. Instead of that, wearing disposable gloves. So employers should ensure that adequate these sanitary facilities are provided and ensure that the food workers thoroughly and frequently sanitize their hands. So regarding these high touch points, so by identifying the high touch points, for example, these trolleys, baskets, ladders, tongs, so such points, that is the high touch points, it should be wiped and sanitized frequently so that we can minimize the risk of this contaminating, transmitting COVID-19. Regarding doors, we can also keep the doors open where possible to minimize the contact. Availability of PPE for workers. The use of PPE would be a routine in high-risk areas of food premises that produce ready-to-eat and cooked foods. Therefore, provide sanitized masks, slippers, shoes, and aprons to the employers. Similarly, regarding this active and passive screening, it is also one of the measures for the safety and hygiene of milk processors. So in that, we can take a voluntary temporal thermometer readings of the plant staff and the persons visiting. So use a voluntary self-assessment to identify symptoms. If someone declines to participate in this screening, so in that case, we may turn away him. Working platforms with barriers for maintaining safe distance. So for that purpose, we may fix these plexiglass barriers on working stations so that an additional level of protection for staff can be maintained. Similarly, regarding this periodical inspection of the plant. So for that purpose, develop a plan for periodical disinfection of the working place and complete plant. So with this, I conclude this topic. I would like to place on record that the safety and hygiene of milk producers and the person involved in the dairy processing and the supply chain have emerged as the never before hotspots during the COVID-19 menace. Actually, these factors are important but neglected one. And by virtue of this calamity, this importance is highlighted. Now, it is the foremost responsibility of everyone associated with the dairy fraternity to continue this tempo even after the post-COVID era. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Dr. Kalyankar, sir, for an amazing session on hygiene and sanitation at milk processor level. Thank you very much. Now I request Dr. Praful Patil, sir.
Well, thank you.
Okay, please welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. First, I will congratulate the Parul University and Dr. Vijay Kere for the successful organization of this useful and applicable event. And I am very much thankful to the Parul University and mainly to Dr. Vijay Kere for inviting me as a speaker in this STP program. So, as we know about the COVID-19, rapidly spread among 213 countries and affecting more than 6.4 million of the peoples, and death occurs about 3.8 million peoples. So due to corona infection in India, 2,16,919 cases today will be suffering from the COVID-19, and death is occur in 6,088 peoples. So this is the highly spreading disease. So we have to take care of the dairy farmers and chilling center. So one of the reports shows that 2 staff from avian milk unit in Madavaram, Tamil Nadu, were infected with COVID-19. And yesterday we have listened from Dr. Bhikani sir that about one coronavirus positive dairy farmer was found at Malegaon district, Nasik, Maharashtra. So we have to take care of the dairy farmers and also the dairy processing unit, staff of the dairy processing units. So we will see the presentation. So today we will discuss about the do's and don'ts at dairy farm and chilling center during and post COVID-19. So what are the objectives of this presentation? To know the simple explanation of the COVID-19 virus. What is COVID-19 virus, how it is spread, and how it is controlled. This will be given in this presentation. Then to offer simple operational practices to run the dairy farm and chilling center without any hindrance. So to give measures to control the coronavirus among the dairy farmers and workers at chilling center. So what is coronavirus? This is the viral disease, and first case was found at Wuhan, China in December 2019. And in India, first case was found at Thrissur district of the Kerala state, and who is the student came from the China, who is suffering from the COVID-19. As on today, in all world, there are 6.4 million cases are active cases. Then there's among these 3.8 million cases, 3.8 lakhs people are died due to this COVID-19, and recovered cases are about 3.1 million people are covered from this COVID-19. Then this slide shows how this COVID-19 will spread among the peoples and among the dairy farmers. So if any dairy farmer will be infected, then when he has contact with another dairy farmer or any worker, then due to handshaking, due to hugging, there will be direct contact between the two persons, and there will be infection to the other workers. Then second point is airborne. Airborne by it is spread through the droplets from sneezing and coughing, and that will be inhalated by another person, and that person will be affected by this COVID-19. Then third route is by fomites. Fomites, these are the structures, or these are the cloths of affected person, or the furniture material that is affected by the affected person, and if any healthy person touches to this fomites, then it will be affected also. Then COVID-19 transmitted person to person, air or sneezing or coughing droplets by inhalation by the another person. Then this virus can be survive on the surfaces for 24 to 48 hours. Common symptoms found in this COVID-19 infection are fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath and tiredness. These are the main symptoms. Other symptoms are also appeared, but these are the most appeared symptoms. Then the severity of this disease will be depending upon age and chronic medical conditions. So the old age persons and infants will be mainly deaths will be occurring age older persons and with those people who have chronic medical conditions. This is a pandemic disease, and it is globally distributed, and about 213 countries are affected due to the COVID-19. And the situation in the world is quickly changing day by day and affecting the daily lives of many peoples, including dairy farmers, workers at dairy processing units. So we have to take care of among ourselves. So what should we do to keep the COVID-19 away from the dairy farm level? So first is basic hygienic practices should be practiced at work. So at dairy farm level, we have to maintain the dairy farm practices like frequent washing of our hands with sanitizer. Then don't touch to our eyes, mouth, and nose while working at their dairy farm and any other places. So these are the basic hygienic practices. Then soap and hand sanitizer should be made available around the farm at different places so as to easy access to dairy workers and visitors to wash their hands. Then this slide shows how to wash our hands to prevent the COVID-19 infection with sanitizer. So first step is rub palm to palm. Then second step, rub back of left hand over right palm and vice versa. Then third stage, rub palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Then rub back of fingers on opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Then fifth step is rub around right thumb with left palm. And last step is rub palm of the left hand with the fingers of other hand and vice versa. This is the proper method of hand washing with the sanitizer or soap. This slide also shows what are the personal protective measures. So first you have to wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Then avoid touching your eyes, nose, mouth frequently. So avoid contact with sick people and stay home if you are sick. Then cover your mouth while sneezing, coughing. These are the personal protective measures to be undertaken at dairy farm level. Then encourage workers to stay 6 to 10 feet apart and communicate via cell phones. If there any emergency, we have to communicate via cell phones. Do not face-to-face interaction. Then all hard surfaces should be disinfected regularly. Hard surfaces at dairy farm level are the concrete floor or concrete walls. They are also should be disinfected regularly with the proper disinfection. Then workers should wear appropriate personal protective equipments. Those are at high risk. Those people will wear these personal protective equipments, that is PPE. This includes mask, hand gloves, aprons, then eye cover, then face cover, and the shoes. These types of the PPE units should be wear by the person who is at more risk. Then all types of worker uniforms should be cleaned or laundered daily on the daily basis so as to avoid this infection from clothes to another person. Then workers should be cross-trained to allow them to perform different job tasks on the farm in the event of the shortage of staffing. So you have to train all these workers to perform all the essential functions at our dairy farm so as to avoid the hindrance during the shortage of the staff. Then a single entry or exit to the farm should be maintained continuously. It will control the non-essential workers or visitors from gaining entry into the farm. Then next is inquire if there are family or friends of workers that would be interested in filling roles in case of shortage due to the COVID-19. Also, you have to use take help from the students which are on extended break or completing online courses for the work of our dairy farm if there is a shortage of manpower. And consider talking with neighboring dairies, sharing workers if one dairy finds themselves in a worker shortage crisis. The next point is critical supply contingency planning should be undertaken to identify alternative supplier of essential products. For example, if there is one supplier is not ready to supply concentrated mixture, then that will affect the milk production of their dairy farm and also health of their animals. So we have to keep in touch with our alternative supplier so as to get the concentrated mixture routinely. Then strong leadership and effective communication from owner, managers, and supervisors on a daily basis is a key to ensure non-disruption of milk production. So, manager, dairy owner should motivate the workers to motivate and promote the workers to maintain the hygienic practices at dairy farm level, and they are making all the essential functions at dairy farm level. Then one important practice to encourage is social distancing, maintaining farm level. It is essential practice to keep away the COVID-19 infection. In a lots of different points or different locations, for example, in the tractor and cuvettes, and encourage people to use them, not just to wipe their hands, but to clean their phones and other surfaces. It is useful to wash the hands of the workers, also their phones, disinfect their phones and surfaces other are regularly touchable. Then wipe the fill and stick shift down before and after you use them. Tractor cabs especially are little incubators for the COVID-19 virus. So keep the windows of all the vehicles open if possible. Wear gloves during milking that will prevent direct touching to the feed surface, and that will prevent the infection from infected person to animals, cow, buffaloes. Then ensure that you remove gloves when leaving the dairy to go home or to other areas of the farm. After you remove your gloves, wash your hands thoroughly with the soap and warm water and then go to home. Then if possible, one vehicle is allotted for one person. If it is not possible, then make available gloves in the vehicle. For example, tractor, and wipe down steering wheel, control before leaving with the sanitizer or any disinfectant. Then make a set of COVID-19 rules for all people on the farm and make aware to the workers about these rules and make them agree with these rules and say them to stick up with these rules. Rules should be displayed where staff will see them. Then only allow important and essential service providers on your farm, like egg vets, milk truck drivers, feed delivery. Vets, for example, vets are essential to give the farm service to treat the animals, also for the artificial insemination. So you have to give entry to these essential persons with proper maintaining the hygienic practices. Then post biosecurity signs at every entrance to your farm and barn, instructing your suppliers to call you before entering the barn or moving around the property. So these signs, I have given one sign of the biosecurity that will keep away the visitors from the direct entry into the farm premises, and that will prevent the entry of the COVID-19 at farm level. Then what should not we do at the farm level? So avoid close interactions between co-workers. The milking parlor is a work area that often necessitates close interaction among the workers. So this is the work area that is of most concern for virus transmission between the workers. Workers who show signs or report symptoms of COVID-19 should not be allowed to work or be on the farm. It should be him to keep stay at home. Then workers should avoid handshaking at the farm premises, also at home. Employ other greeting methods like namaste, elbow and foot taps, or distance waves. Then avoid the food and beverage sharing between workers should be discouraged. As all of you know that handshaking, due to handshaking, many of the foreign countries will be suffering with the COVID-19 infection. Then non-essential off-farm visitors should not be allowed on the farm. When off-farm vendors come on the dairy site, their visit should be recorded with visitor name, purpose of the visit and time of the visit. Then if the visit is essential, then only allow. If this visit is not essential, don't allow him to enter our farm. Then only essential personnel should be allowed in the tank room where the milk is collected. Then food delivery vendors should be organized on a pre-order basis with currency exchange and delivery of orders taking place away from the farm operations. Social visits by family members of workers should not be allowed on the farm. So social visits by the family members should be avoided. Don't allow to the workers for non-essential traveling, events or social gatherings. This includes crowds with 10 or more people, and this will keep the workers from the COVID-19 infection, keep away from the COVID-19 infection. In case of large household consisting of related and non-related dairy farm co-workers, encourage them to agree on a consistent COVID-19 prevention plan for the household. Then next point is avoid overcrowding at milk collection center, because this is the one of the center at which we have to again at a risk for the COVID-19 infection. So avoid overcrowding and maintain social distancing. This slide shows how these peoples were maintaining social distance. And this is the slide from Sangamner Tehsil of Nagar district in Maharashtra state. Then what can we do to avoid the infection at chilling center? We have to avoid the entry of infection within the factory. So we have to take the personal hygiene of plant workers by frequent washing your hands with sanitizer, then avoid handshaking, then make food safety plan and display in the factory. Every plant owner has to make the safety plan and display in the factory to see the factory workers and factory staff. Then reduce the risk of COVID-19 exposure to all staff by strongly restricting plant access to anyone not essential to the business. Restrict unwanted movements in the plants of the staff and co-workers also. Then we can do the we can do the technique safety measures in shared amenity areas and offices. What is meant by shared amenity areas? It is common places. Those will be shared by the workers at our chilling center. Maintain hygienic practices in lunch rooms, change rooms, and bathrooms. Then eliminate and or minimize close contact between the employees wherever possible. Then you have to take practical risk reduction measures such as minimizing on-site personnel, careful structuring of shifts of the workers, and additional consideration of staff movement within the factory premises. Particular attention should be paid to high traffic touch points like door handles, light switches, handrails, and water taps. These will be handled by many of the workers. So these are the main points of the infection. So you have to disinfect with the proper disinfectant every time, or frequent washing is necessary. Frequent disinfecting is essential. Business should also maintain a vigilant environmental cleaning regime across shared amenity spaces. Minimize or limit meetings in offices or small rooms. Maximize telework for the office or staff, or use video conferencing in case of emergency for the meeting of the office staff. Then restrict visitors to plant to avoid the pest, to keep the pest from the chilling center, entry of the pest from chilling center, and keep away the COVID-19 infection, entry of the COVID-19 infection in the plant. Move a backup management team off-site so that they may step in if the on-site managers are incapacitated. Then sanitizing non-production equipments like phones, computer, keyboards on the frequent basis. This will disinfect these equipments and keep away the COVID-19 infection. Then implement your emergency biohazard plan. Biohazard plans means biohazard. This is a material. Biohazard material is material containing the virus or any of the material that will affect the human health. So you have to implement your emergency biohazard plan at the farm premise, at the chilling center. So be safe, stay healthy. Thank you. Thank you for silent listening. Thank you, the Parul University, for giving me opportunity to present this lecture in this STP program.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Dr. Prabhu Patil sir, for a great session on do's and don'ts at farm level and chilling cell. I personally thanks to all experts, that is Dr. M.R. Patil sir, Dr. H.D. Kallankar sir, and Dr. Prabhu Patil sir. On the behalf of Parul University, I concluded this session with a thanks to all experts and participants. Thank you, sir.